if for you a gated community with picket fence is your sort of thing, then this is an option too.
The Jam family. We're Irie, living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam family, the Jam family, yeah. Jam fam, come hang with me.
What's happening today?
It's my school rally today.
Hey! So we're going out in non-school uniform. Well, partially. Well, how do you feel about it? So?
I'm not happy that I have to walk.
Oh,
I'm wanting to see what house wins.
okay then.
And
Well,
will be one.
may the best house win and may that be your house. Well, enjoy the little walk that you guys will be doing. Hopefully it's a little walk and not a massive walk. Came out on my morning walk this morning and this cocoa tree or plant caught my eyes. It is such a giant. Look at it. And right next to it is where you can see the remains of where they harvested some cassava. That's the remains. It's just on the footpath. And right next to it some sugar cane and a pumpkin vine. And this just reminds me of the peace, the serenity of being able to live in Jamaica. And sometimes we have to stop and remind ourselves of how magnificent a place it is, how peaceful and tranquil it can be for everybody that occupies this little rock that we call Jamrock. Hello. Wagwan, big up yourself for the idea yard or idea abroad. Welcome back to another one of our Jam Fam episodes. So on today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about the truth or the reality about buying a property in Jamaica. So I'm going to give you some insight about what are some of the things to think about if you're planning to move to Jamaica. So one of the things that were important, well, one of the most important bit is how are you going to survive? How are you going to afford to be here? So you've got to think about that. Now, job availability in Jamaica is something that you have to think about in terms of the field you're in. It's also going to be different, the pay package, because honestly, sometimes I wonder, do Jamaicans actually earn a living wage? Really, because sometimes when you go out and you see all the expenses that people have to afford, you do realize that it's not going to be the same type of pay package as you would be used to elsewhere. So you will have to look into that, and first and foremost consider how it is that you're going to survive in Jamaica when you do move. And again, because price points can move so swiftly and so quickly, and certain points of the year, the currencies, the value of the overseas currency decreases in terms of the exchange rates. Those are things that you're going to need to consider, and that's a conversation for a whole other time. And if you want to have that conversation, let me know in the comments below, and I will spend some time to explain from my perspective of and my experience of being here in the months now since I've been here. But the thing I want to talk to you about now is the moving and then what you're going to do in terms of your living. So there are several options that you can take, and I'm going to put a video in here now for you to just explain some of them and show you what they actually look like. So once we've watched that, I'll then explain to you the option that I took when I was coming. If you're choosing to relocate to Jamaica, there are lots of different options. Some people choose to go down the short-term letting, so Airbnb option, and then see where for a couple short-term, so maybe for 3 to 6 months, and see how they get on. Some people prefer to take up a little bit of a more long-term thing, so they take up a rental lease. and see how that goes. Some people choose to buy, and if you are going to buy, there are lots of options. So for example, this one, I'm at the back of this urban estate, so it's just a block of flats or apartments, and that's one option that you can decide if that's what you prefer, to live in an urban metropolitan lifestyle. And this is what it looks like from the front. So well groomed, well kept, and lovely communal gardens are over there, and they have balconies to the front as well, and it seems to have adequate parking. Now, not all of them will have balconies necessarily, it just depends on where you are and how the designers have made them. And this is the view from the front. So this is just a complex. However, if for you a gated community with picket fence is your sort of thing, then this is an option too. They tend to come with maintenance charges and with lots of facilities that you can do stuff. They have different type of dwellings. Some of these are townhouses, some of them are bungalows, some are detached 2 stories. So that's what they would look like, nicely taken care of. And the upkeep comes in the membership and the maintenance cost. Again, nicely manicured, well kept. If, however, you prefer to be in a suburban neighborhood or a subdivision or an estate, whichever of those you use where you are, you could opt for that too. So this here is a one family house. It's probably sitting on about half an acre of land. You can get options with quarter acre. There are some that has less. So like 1/5 or so of an acre that you could opt into. Be mindful that here it's a sprawl if you go into the suburbs, because the houses are rather far apart. It is just what it is. Here in the suburbs, the maintenance of your land or your yard space is all up to you. You can buy, or you can go down the other option that I haven't mentioned, which is the build option. So you can buy the land and choose to build. And if you see that house over there, that person have chosen the buy land and build option. So they've built the downstairs and have now occupied it, and they're working on the upstairs of it. And you can see another house over there in the distance between the two. That's just further on the street. And there are a few more lower down as well. So as I've said, the sprawl is here. The options are many. And some people prefer the rural feel. So where they've got lots of land and they can fruit it up how they want to. Just like in the suburb, these ones are your responsibility to maintain. So there's another one right here. It's a one family house, and there's another one being built up behind it. So this is more of what you would get if you choose the rural area. And it can be even more rural than this as well. So that is something to be mindful of. And I will give you some information about some of the things to do with cost to you based on the option that you choose. And the option we chose, I will talk you through about that because I know more information about that one. But it's up to you. If this is your dream, these are some of the possibilities of where you would live and how you would live, so that you can make it a reality for yourself. And you can see one of the houses up in the hills nestled behind the trees up there as well. So this is the other side of the rural landscape. In this case it's just woods, but in some of them it could be farmlands right around you, as you know would be the case. This is a fruited land. There's some at the front, but theirs is nestled up. The house is around there, and they're doing a build, so which is very common in rural areas, or as you get deeper into the rural parts of Jamaica, you'll see a lot of buy and build. Okay, so when I was coming to Jamaica, I decided that I didn't want to rent. I also decided that I didn't want to buy land and build. And so my other option now would have been that I'm going to, and I didn't want to do the long stay or short term let accommodations either. I wanted to have somewhere that I'm going to have a little bit of permanency and also be able to benefit from the growth in equity for the expense that I'm going to be paying. So this option, the buying option, opens itself up to a variety of different scenarios. So the buy option is, some people go through the international NHT contribution. So you are abroad and you can still contribute to NHT, and then you can pull your NHT loan when you are ready to return and to buy, and then go along that way for your money to be able to do that, to help you to do that. The other option is to go down the path of getting a mortgage from a bank. In Jamaica, if you need to buy it with a mortgage, or for those people who can afford to, you buy it cash outright. So I went down the getting a mortgage route to buy, and the process was laborious. Now, firstly, the lawyers in Jamaica typically cost about 3 to 4% is their general fee, and then anything in that interim of time between you starting to acquire the property and the end of it, any additional things that they have to do for you will come at an additional cost. So you've got to factor that in, which for me, I just figured that this is going to be the cost and this is the cost. So at that point, I didn't factor that cost, the additional costs in, because I didn't expect that we were going to have additional costs. And my case was a little bit of a challenge because of some variations that were within my names on my documentations, and some that hadn't changed from my maiden name a while back, and so there were a few discrepancies that needed to be sorted out. So that in itself would add to the time. So the other thing about so that boils down to the fees that you will then have to pay if you are buying it, however you buy it. If you miss the deadline that's on the agreement of sale when you set that up with the seller, then it means that you then are going to be charged interest, which I'm not sure if that's something you guys have in America, for those people who live in the USA or in Canada. I know that it's not something we have in the UK. So in the UK, you might agree that you're going to complete at a certain time. However, completion doesn't happen until everything aligns and everybody is ready to move, and then you have that completion happening. So therefore, nobody pays anything if it's delayed, because any party can be the reason for it to be delayed, as well as organizations can be the reason for it to be delayed. So therefore, people have that opportunity to do that. So in terms of the fees, that's set into the agreement when you exchange contracts. So at the point of exchange of contracts, you have to pay your percentage then, and that's money that you have to pay yourself. So you have to have that deposit ready, and then once that's been done, then you escalate your application with the bank, and then you go through the different documentations. Trust me, the banks need so much information from you. I've had several mortgages before, and I've never had to give all of that much information for any of them. So in terms of the amount of information the bank needs from you, literally all they're left to ask you to do is to give you blood, give them blood, or to donate DNA. Literally, it feels so invasive and violating. However, that's their process. So you know what? You need their mortgage, just roll with the process. And once you've gone through that, be mindful, they're very slow. They go so slowly. Just to give you an example, one of the documents that I needed, and we were rushing to get this thing through, I needed the document. It was dated the Monday of that week. I didn't get it on email until the Friday of that week. Now, this is an email process, and it was that slow. So you can just, that gives you an idea of how slow the process can be in comparison to what you probably are used to wherever you are. Because a letter that's generated on the Monday is going to hit your inbox on the Monday because it's an urgent situation. It's not going to take the whole working week wherever you are. So then there is a fee that you then have to pay if you miss the agreement closing, and that progresses daily, not work days, daily, weekdays. So it keeps progressing, and that can rack it up very quickly, especially the fact that the people that are in the process with you, it's not their problem. They're not going to push and try to accelerate any quicker than their process is to try and make anything work out differently for you. So that's one of the other things to consider. In terms of the whole process, most of the realtors are quite good at making sure that things happen, and the solicitor that I use was very good at getting me the details that I need and processing through the different things that needed to be processed through. The difference is that for us in the UK, for example, a lot of the things that happens in the background after the completion is done in the background. The solicitor gets them done, send it to you later on. Here you get a letter or letters, and you have to then go and get the process done. Pretty much you have to keep pushing. In terms of when you need to get your utilities in your name, wow, that is such a difficulty. Like, you're thinking, guys, we're trying to pay you money here for your service that you're providing. Who is going to want to just, but I'm mindful people do that, but these are the things you have to be thinking. Who is going to volunteer themselves to pay light bill for a property that they're not using light bill at? But I do understand the security that they're putting in place for what they're doing, but it's such a foreign thing, because in the UK, you move into a property, you inform them that I've moved into this property. So as of now, this is the meter reading, and I'm the one paying the bill. They set up the bill, and the bill just runs. So that's something that I had to get my head around, several trips to these offices just to be able to pay my water bill and to pay my electricity. In terms of some of the other things about adjusting in terms of the internet and phone and stuff like that, there are quite lovely contracts that you can get to do those. So those are some of the things you need to remember to consider if you're choosing to buy in Jamaica. So hopefully that was helpful for you to get an idea of the process. It's a laborious process. I wouldn't be able to say what would happen if you're doing a cash purchase, but I would assume that it's all the things that I experienced except the interaction with the banks. So therefore it would be less likely that you're going to go over the date and the time when you're supposed to close, because you would have had your cash ready to move with when you need to move with it. So that should cut back on some of the costs that you have to afford. Now, the reason I didn't think about doing buy the land and build is because I didn't want to have to come and manage that, and I would want to make sure that I'm doing it with a trustworthy person, and I didn't know anybody in that way to be able to do that. So if you want to have some information about like the comparisons between the different areas that I've shown you in the clip as to where you can live, do let me know and I will just give you some more details. I think I've spoken about it to some degree, but I can go into more details about what the different locations are. So for example, the urban lifestyle, if that's what you're into, the gated community, if that's what you would prefer, the suburb, if that's what you would prefer, or the rural area, if that's what you would prefer. So do let me know in the comments below, and I'll explore some of the information for you so that you can make the best decision for yourself when you decide to move back to Jamaica. Thank you for spending your time with us today on another one of our episodes as we explore some of the intricacies of this moving to Jamaica and the process of getting yourself settled in a home in Jamaica. Whatever you decide to do and whenever you decide to move, I wish you all the best, and I hope that this information has been helpful and beneficial to you. So until next time, take care and bye for now.